Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second Downloadable Opinions Sports Podcast. I am your host, the villainous Adam Gaden, and again, I am doing this solo. Nobody wants to talk sports with me. What the hell is this? But anyway, we got four topics again for you, just like last time. We have the NHL Free Agent Frenzy. There's a lot of things I'm going to talk about. The three big deals that were done. After that, we'll be talking about Steve Nash, who is not going to be a Toronto Raptor as we all hoped. He is on his way to LA to play with the Lakers. We also, speaking of basketball, have the Jackass that is Dwight Howard. If you haven't heard the story, we'll find that out in about probably 10-15 minutes time. And last but not least, even though the Euro tournament has been over for a little while, we're going to have a quick end where we're going to talk, is Spain the best team ever to play the sport of football? But first, like I said, we are going to talk about the NHL Free Agent Frenzy. Now, if you were watching the Twitter account, I was going ape shit crazy for every deal the first couple of days. Nothing really happened for the most part until at least a day after, and then we started getting some more. But yesterday, we finally got to find out where Zach Parise and Ryan Suter were going. And I got to admit to you, I don't think myself or really anybody expected this. Both Zach Parise and Suter have gone to the Minnesota Wild for matching 13-year deals, which I imagine with the new collective bargaining agreement negotiations that are already starting, that loophole where they can get the long contracts in with the average cap hit, that's going to be over pretty damn soon. So that might have been the last long contract you're ever going to see in the NHL. Because I have a feeling they're probably going to start toning down the terms because it is getting a little ridiculous when you get all these 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year deals. Think of Rick DiPietro, for God's sakes. They're still paying this guy, and he was the biggest piece of crap I ever seen get an actual good paycheck. Minus pretty much 90% of the guys who play for the Leafs that stiffed us. But that's not the point. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't see the Wild coming through on this. I mean, the Red Wings were the first one, I think, to offer Ryan a deal, and I think it was about the same deal. I think it was 13 years, $90 million, or it was 10 years, something like that. But I'm pretty much in disbelief that Minnesota got this done, considering that you don't really know them very well to be the big spending team. So I guess, not to say that it's not going to turn out good for them. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're still not that great a team. They've added a solid center, a first-line center, and a solid first defensive pairing. You know, they haven't gotten the short end of the stick here. The thing is, they still got a few holes they got to fix. I mean, a lot of people are saying in net, well, I don't know, Backstrom does a pretty good job. It's just they had a struggle after they... I mean, remember, these guys were in first place up until December. And then the rails just derailed and they started coming down. But the only thing I really see them having to do is just fix a little extra defense, and that might do it, because they still have the scoring in guys like Mikko Koivu. Danny Heatley had a bad season. He stiffed them, so he owes them big time, and I think he should, and he will. I mean, they got other players that they can deal with. I mean, even if they're not going to win next season, or this upcoming season, I should say. Give them 3-4 years. They'll be competitive because as free agency goes along. Because now that they've gotten Parise and Suter, people are going to look at Minnesota and say, well, I could go there and play with these guys now. Because until now, nobody pretty much had Minnesota on the radar because who is their star player? Mikko Koivu. He's not that big a guy, really. Underrated, but he's not that big either. So you give it 2, 3, or 4 years, you're going to start seeing more bigger names coming down there. I'm sure we'll probably see at least one big winger that'll come either at the trade deadline next year, maybe at free agency next year, who knows. But either way, Minnesota's really gotten themselves a good deal, and they should be really happy with what they've done, because a good point was made when I was listening to the Fan 590. They were saying, I think it was Jim Lang who said it, that, yeah, it's 13 years, but if they win a championship and at any point between one of those 13 years, that deal will have been worth it. And that's true, because considering how many teams don't get a chance to win the Stanley Cup and have these long droughts, one Stanley Cup is worth more than any. But going from one good deal to one that I'm kind of unsure about, the Dallas Stars made two big signings. They signed Jaromir Jagr for 1 year for 4.5 and Ray Whitney for, I think, 2 years at, 7.5, 8 million, 9 million, something around that. But again, a pretty decently high contract. And not to say that it might not be worth it, but with the age of these guys, like both of them are really old. I mean, Yager came out of left field. We did not think he was going to do as well as he did in Philly, but at the end of the day, these guys are way out of their prime, and they're offering them deals that they would be given to like a guy that's 26 in his prime, like say Zach Parise, although $3 million off. Do I think they're overpaid? I think at this point in time, on paper, yes, but to get these guys, you're going to have to shell out a little bit of extra cash. So that there might have been teams offering about the same amount or just a little bit less, so they didn't have a choice if they wanted them. But I think this is a really big desperation move for Dallas because they've been just struggling for a while now. And I mean, now that Modano's gone and all that, they don't really have much left. I mean, they really don't have a goalie that's really going to save a game for them. There's really not one guy on the. Oh well, I guess there's one guy, Jamie Benn, or maybe even Louis Eriksson. But I mean, they're not the highest of caliber. They don't really have any stars on that team. And excuse me, I don't think that those two deals are really going to get them any higher. I mean, it's some good veteran presence, but I really don't think this is going to improve the team very much. I think, if anything, they might, if they're lucky, they'll get an 8th place playoff berth. But it's not going to be anything that they're going to help because whoever's going to be number one. I know LA was the 8th seed, but let's be honest, LA should not have been the 8th seed for the most part, but they struggled at the beginning of the season. Imagine what the whole season would have been if Daryl Sutter was the coach at the start. They would not be an 8th. They'd be a top 3 seed. They probably would have won their division. But I don't know. I'm really unsure about this move, especially for Whitney, because I don't know. He didn't do too bad in Carolina, but those are two really old guys that you're taking a big risk on. So I hope it pays out. One more thing that's going to pay out, speaking of old guys, Marty Brodeur is also a Devil. And I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by that. I mean, I don't think that even if, say, a team like Toronto offered him, $6 million, I think he still would have gone to the Devils. He just really wanted to stay in Jersey because you know that these 2 years are going to be his last. He's been flirting with retirement for a while now. I think the only reason he didn't retire this year is because they made the Cup final. So his first thought is, okay, maybe I have one more shot. Although now that Parise's gone, I think it's pretty much over. So I guess it's pretty much a guarantee we're going to see him retire in 2 years. But either way, it's thank God for that signing because New Jersey, had they already lost Parise. I mean, we didn't know that at the time, but the writing was pretty much on the wall. They were not going to get Parise back. But at least now that they've signed Brodeur, at least it tells them that they're not completely run down and they're not going to just fade out. Because a lot of people were thinking that New Jersey, if they couldn't sign either of those two guys, they were done. They were done. So for at least them to sign them, and I mean, Johan Hepburg almost immediately re-signed after Brodeur signed, so they haven't lost everything. They've lost Parise, but they still have guys like Adam Henrique and Ilya Kovalchuk, so they're not empty-handed. But Parise is a huge loss to them. I don't know if you'll even see them in the playoffs next year or this season. They might, but it definitely won't be a high seed. Either it'll be maybe a 7 or 8 like they were last time. So other than that, if I want to take a quick shot at the Leafs, I don't give a shit what they've done. The only good thing they did was re-sign Matt Fratton. I don't know anything about Jay McClement, not enough to realize that he could be any use to us. And Mike Koska, the only reason that his name is on my radar is because he kicked the shit out of my Toronto Marlies and knocked him out of the Calder Cup. So anyway, we'll move on to another depressing story. Speaking of Toronto, the Raptors will not be getting the services of Steve Nash. He has gone to Los Angeles to the Lakers. The reason was kind of simple for him. It's closer to his family. It's a team that he gets to play with, a big star like Kobe. Although I still can't say I saw it coming. The Lakers weren't even on the radar as far as I knew. From what I knew, I thought it was either going to be Phoenix trying to sign them, the Knicks trying to sign them, the Nets were going to, but then they re-signed Darren Williams, and the Raptors. And the Raptors offered the biggest deal. So, I mean, it's not that Brian Colangelo didn't try, but the Lakers just seem to have the better package. The only problem with this move that I see for Nash is that if for any reason he signed to try for a ring, he's not going to get it in LA anymore. The Lakers are on the downside, so unless they really bust their ass and start signing a lot of extra free agents and getting some better, teammates, I don't think they're going to be able to make the same push now. You got teams like OKC You got the Bulls, you got the Celtics, you got the Spurs, who came out of left field again this year. The Mavericks still aren't that bad. They might be coming up again. And then you got the Miami Heat. I don't think there's any way the Lakers can beat the Heat. And even the Clippers are on their way up, so the Clippers might even rise above the Lakers too. So for Nash, I mean, not to say it's not a good deal for him. I mean, he gets to finish his career, which is at least what we think is going to finish his career, with with arguably the best player in basketball, next to Michael Jordan, really the best ever, especially in this generation. So I don't feel bad for Nash. I mean, I think that's a great move for him. But oh my God, I feel bad for the Raptors now because the writing is now on the wall for them. They got nothing. I mean, they've signed Kyle Lowry from the Rockets. I don't know, they didn't sign him. They traded him, or traded for him. What did they trade? They traded a first-round pick, and I think, what was the guy's name? Gary Forbes, a prospect forward or something like that. So, but either way, it's not that big a name. It's not a Steve Nash, and not even counting what it was going to be like on the court. What Steve Nash would have done for ticket sales and merchandising would have been phenomenal. That would save the team from the obscurity that they are stuck in. Nobody watches the Raptors. The last time I went to a Raptors game, they got the shit knocked out of them. I think it was by the Sixers. Yeah, it was the Sixers. And I left after the second quarter. I was like, screw this. This is a waste. They have nothing right now. We don't know what we're going to get with Jonas Valanciunas. We don't know. We don't know. And I don't think anything can really save them right now until they get a big star. And this is a team that I'm expecting not to make the playoffs again, and I'm not even expecting to be even close to pushing for it. So I can't say that Coangelo dropped the ball on this because he offered the biggest deal for Nash. It just didn't end up working. Speaking of things that didn't end up working, this is a story that has been pissing me off ever since it's first started. But Dwight Howard, if you do not know enough about Dwight Howard to know the story around him, he got his coach, Stan Van Gundy, fired because straight up he didn't like the guy. He didn't like working with him. My first problem with that is the players shouldn't have any business running the team or getting the owners to do anything. Yes, is he a star? Yeah, of course he is. But he is the biggest prima donna I think I've ever seen in this league. I don't think I've seen anybody in any sport that is this much of a jackass than Dwight Howard. Because now that he's gotten his coach fired and he's got his, everything's back to normal again, he still wants out. And not only that, but he only wants to go to the Brooklyn Nets if they're going to trade him. What the fuck? You just got the owner to fire the coach. And you still want out. And not only do you want out, but you only give them one team to deal with? Fuck that. If I was the fucking GM, I'd just release him. You know what? I don't care. I'm sure somebody would sign him, somebody that would be willing to take a big risk, but I'm not sure any team really wants him at this point in time because of the track record he's been causing. And would even any coach want to deal with this guy? Because if he pisses them off, or no, if he pisses Dwight off, fucking Dwight will try to get him fired too. Who the hell does this guy think he is? He is not the star of the NBA. Who the hell does he think he is to get a coach fired? And he was a good coach too. I like Stan. And for him to think that even after, now that he got his way, he still wants to get out? Are you fucking kidding me? Just get out of the league while you can, you self-centered, egotistical son of a bitch. Who the hell do you think you are telling an owner that you still want to be traded? Not only do you want to be traded, but you only want to be traded to one team? Give me a fucking break. I can't believe stories like this. That tells me how the NBA is going to start losing respect very quickly because the players run that league. And no league should ever be run by players. The players are employees of that league. They are being paid by the NBA, by the owners of the NBA, to play a game. They are being paid millions of dollars to have fun. I'm making $14 an hour at my job to bust my ass and deal with idiots. But these guys get paid millions of dollars annually to play a fucking game. And you're not thankful for that you have the opportunity? And what's somebody going to say to me? Oh, well, everybody wants more money, so they're going to try to get their way to get that. I don't give a shit. You're making millions of dollars. It's not my problem that you gamble, that you spend it on shit you don't need. You don't deserve that much money. As far as I'm concerned, every freaking sport should have salary caps down so that people can get the most can be get is $2 or $3 million because they do not deserve these massive $200 million contracts. Are you kidding me? They aren't doing anything but playing a game good. Oh, good for them. If I spent enough time shooting hoops, maybe I could be making that much $1 million, but I didn't care. I hated basketball, and I hated more because of shit like this. Because this guy thinks that he owns the league, that he is the league. You are nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, they should just release you and just kick you out of the league because you don't deserve a damn thing that you've made because of your actions. Okay, now that I got a little bit of rage out of me, the last topic, like I said, we're going to be talking about Spain. Because, as we all know, they are now they have won 3 tournaments in a row. They won Euro in 2008. They won the World Cup, the World Cup in 2010, and they won the Euro a week or so ago. So they have now won 3 straight tournaments. So the question is, are they the best team ever? Because a lot of people are considering to the Brazilian team from the 70s. And it's a hard argument. I think Spain has made a pretty damn good case that they are the best team ever to play soccer, especially because this generation is even better than the past generation. I mean, minus all the freaking diving. Speaking of which, I am so happy they beat Italy because I'm half Italian and I hate Italy. Italy is probably the most dramatic team in a dramatic sport. A lot of people are probably saying, "Oh, that's really below the belt there." I'm like, I'm sorry. In a game of hockey, I know there's diving, but most of us take hits like a fucking man, and these guys will roll over like they've been shot when they've basically been grazed. Give me a break. They were pointing out during the Germany-Italy game that the guy was getting tackled a couple times, and he kept just going through it. He could have dived at any point and drawn a call. The point is, you're a fucking man. If you're going to play a sport, you're getting paid millions of dollars again for this stuff. Be a man. Take the hit like a man. Stop being a whiny little bitch and fall over and hold your leg like it's just been cleaved off. Fuck you. Just play the fucking game like a man. Jesus Christ. But anyway, it's easy to say that Spain is definitely the best team of this generation. There's no doubt about that. And, if you want to compare them to the Brazilian team from the 70s again, I think that maybe if they don't win the World Cup, if they do, that makes it pretty much undisputable. But if they make the finals or at least the semis, I still think that's completely undisputable, that they would be the best team. Because, how many teams can you think of that have done this well over the course of 4 tournaments? Not many. So, I think that Spain, personally, I think they are the best team. I had this team penciled in as at least a finalist. I actually had the Netherlands taking this one. But, even under Germany, I had both of those teams thinking, okay, this is going to be some revenge time for either the Netherlands or Germany is going to basically come up and destroy everyone. And they didn't get the job done against Italy, so. But, yeah, Spain's got to be the best team. And if not, they are very, very, very close. They are literally right at the tip of the iceberg, and all they got to do is make that one extra step. So really, if they make even the quarters or the semis, that's it. That confirms it to me. There's no doubt in my mind that they are the best team. So with that, I think that's it. I think I've gotten enough raging out of the way. I think I said the F word a couple times too many, but hey, that's live. That's what you get. I didn't stop. There was no premeditation to this. I just said what I felt. So with that, thank you for listening. I will see you God knows when, because it took a while to get another podcast going because there wasn't too much in stories. I mean, the free agency was really all that was left. And then, Nash and Dwight Howard came out of left field, so that just really confirmed it for me. So, again, thanks for listening. We'll see you down the road. Remember, you can check us out at DLOpinions on Twitter. You can also check us out now at our website, DLOpinions.com, where we're posting all our YouTube stuff up there. We also might be starting to post some articles and that kind of deal. So thanks again for listening, and have a good one. Take it easy, guys. Take it easy, guys.